Welcome to my channel, Farm to Table with Amber. I am happy to be making apple butter today with you. And a lot of people might think or say, what is apple butter? Well, it's just a nice thick spread made from simmered down apples with spices. And I'm going to show you how to make that. You can use it on toast or crackers or just eat it plain. I'm also going to make a recipe using the apple butter cinnamon swirl bread. And doesn't that sound amazing? And I'm going to make that gluten-free. So watch my next video about that as well. So let's get started. These are the things that you're going to need for the apple butter. A nice apple core and peeler. It makes your job a lot easier. We'll use some apple cider, lemon juice, honey, and of course, apples and spices. I like to use a variety of apples for my apple butter. So let's get to it. On our farm here, we grow quite a few apples. And with apple butter, you can use any variety that you'd like. You can see that there's a variety of apples here that I need to get to. We have so many that we can't consume. So apple butter is a great way to use these apples. And I'm excited to get started. All right, so this is my handy dandy apple peeler core. It's really nice. It'll make this job so much faster and easier. All right, so you want to take some washed apples, and I'm going to show you how this core works and peeler. And you just simply put the apple on the end and twist, and it does all the work for you, which is really kind of nice. Cuts it, peels it, and cores it. And we are going to do 6 pounds of apples this way. And again, we're using different varieties of apples. I kind of like that because it just adds a nice depth of flavor for your apple butter when using different apples. Okay, so look how nice and easy that is. And then I'm just putting the apples in this pan, and we're going to simmer those in just a minute. I did a whole bunch of apples a few days ago with my dad, like pounds and pounds and pounds of apples. So this is really simple. Just this small recipe, just enough for our personal use here. It's okay to get a few skins in here. You're just going to boil it down. Again, you don't want the core, and it's nice to get as many of the skins off as you can. We're on the last apple of 6 pounds of apples, and it hasn't been much work at all. And again, I just put the pieces here in this pot, and then we're going to take it over to the stove and add some apple cider to it, and I'll show you that in just a second. Now I'm going to add 2 cups of delicious apple cider that we actually had pressed from these same exact apples. And you put 2 cups in, and then we're going to turn it on. Once they start to simmer, then you simmer for 20 minutes. Ooh, it's starting to really simmer. And boy, does it smell delicious in my kitchen. And I haven't even added the spices to it yet. So that's really simmering right down. Look at that. We have about 4 minutes left. All right, now look at those delicious apples. They're nice and soft. And the next step that we need to do is basically puree these apples. And we will blend those up. We want about 10 cups to go back into this pot. And that's nice and pureed, kind of like applesauce. And see how pureed that is? Yeah. Okay. Now we add to this, what I am excited about this apple butter is that we're making it with honey. And you put 1 cup of honey in. And then 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And this is going to smell delicious once this gets simmering. There's 1 teaspoon and 2 teaspoons. And then 1 teaspoon of ground ginger. We'll put that in there, teaspoon. That's all of the ginger I have. And then 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg and 1/2 teaspoon of cloves. So here you go with your nutmeg and cloves, 1/2 teaspoon as well. And stir that up. And then I'm simply going to add 1/4 cup of lemon juice. And when you're making apple butter, you want to make sure you add a little bit of acid, whether it's citric acid, lemon juice, and that will just simmer right down with that. And stir that in. See? And then this is going back on the stove. And I'm going to simmer this and simmer it until it turns into the consistency of apple butter, which is going to be rather thick. So a lot thicker than applesauce, and just a great thick spread. I'm putting it on low medium heat till it starts to simmer, or medium heat till it starts to simmer, and then I'll turn it down a little bit because you don't want to burn it. And then you'll stir it periodically. So it only took a couple of minutes to get to the stage where it's boiling like this. So I'm just turning it down so it can continue to simmer, but not burn or pop out of the pan. I've taken the lid off. It has simmered for about 30 minutes now. You can see that the colors are darker. And we'll probably need another 15 minutes or so that it will thicken up. Because it's not quite thick enough yet. It's getting there. I'm going to leave the lid off and just let that simmer. Now look how dark in color that is. And thick. So it's much thicker. This has been boiling for about an hour. And I think it's ready. So I'll be getting the jars out. Now I have my fruit saver canner over here. And I am preparing my jars in here so that they'll be nice and hot and ready to put this hot apple butter in, which is what you want to do. And then I'm also preparing my lids in here, just in some hot water, so they'll be prepared and ready to go on top. And then I have some rings as well. I'm going to add some more water to this canner. All right, that canner, I'm turning on the heat to get that water boiling to be prepared for this apple butter. And we'll go ahead and scoop some in here. Now I want to save 1/2 cup for my recipe, the apple butter cinnamon swirl bread. That's kind of a mouthful, isn't it? So I'm going to save 1/2 cup there for that recipe. And then we'll go ahead and fill up these jars. You want it to be nice and hot. And then you put those lids on. Oh, this apple butter looks good. It's nice and thick. Yeah, that's nice apple butter. I'm excited about that. Apple butter takes a little bit of time, a little bit of TLC, but it's also pretty simple to make. And it's so delicious. And I'm excited to try it in that bread recipe. I'm going to make that bread recipe gluten-free, but you can also do it with regular flour as well. Yeah, make sure your lid tops are wiped off or they may not seal. And then you just take your nice hot lids right off of the stove here. Everything's going to be nice and hot. It made about 6 half-pint jars. But I'm keeping a little bit for my family to try and a little bit for my recipe. So just to process, we have 5 half-pint jars here. So I'll put it in the processor or in the water bath canner, turn it on high, and then once it hits the correct zone, which we're in zone 3, I'm going to process these for 10 minutes. All right, on the indicator, the green shows zone 3. So I've started the timer for 10 minutes to process. I love this water bath canner. Our apple butter is done, and I'm just going to get it out of the water bath canner, and I'm excited for you to see it. All right, let's check it out. I think I heard one of them pop already. Look at that. That's gorgeous. Definitely darker in color. As we simmered it, it darkened. So again, this probably would have made closer to 6 half pints, maybe even 7, but I kept some for my bread recipe that I'm going to make that you should watch. And I also just saved a little bit for my family to taste and eat. It has definitely thickened as it cooled, and it looks perfect. Delicious. And my home smells like Christmas, actually. A fun thing about apple butter or anything that you can yourself is that you can basically give it away as a gift, and it's not very much money to do so, and it's just from your heart, from your farm. Lots of love. And here it is. Oh, there's a pop. I heard him pop. Really wants to have them pop and seal. But look how thick that is. When it starts to cool, it gets even thicker. And this has definitely cooled. So I think that looks absolutely delicious. And have it on some biscuits. Thanks for watching my channel, Farm to Table with Amber, where we can grow, cook, and eat together. Have a good day.